We're gonna try this again. Oh. So I tried to read to you last night. I did not try on Sunday night because I had these super ultra mega sads for reasons that I shall not get into, that don't matter to anyone but me. But I didn't try to read Sunday night. I tried to read last night, which was Monday night, which was August 10th, my baby boy's birthday. Him's turned 13 yesterday. Him's is big and his voice is deep, and I miss him terribly, and I wanted more hugs, but I always want more hugs from all my kids. I love my kids' hugs. I miss our cuddles. We used to cuddle all the time. We were very, very, very bonded, they and I. We were extremely bonded. Not that it mattered, but anyway. I tried to read last night and the phone died because I was like, 18%. We've had this conversation before. Don't trust it below 40. Well, I trusted it below 20, and I shouldn't have, because it went dark on me, and I was like, oh crap. And I was midway through chapter 9. I'd already read a full chapter to you. I just, So now we're at like 89%. So we should be good. We should be good. Please forgive me my look of utter and absolute fatigue. I don't even know where I left my... Where did I leave the case for those earbuds? Dagnabbit. Case obtained. Earbuds secured. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Bedtime Stories. My name is Tracy, and I am your host. Tonight we are reading Chapter 8 and probably 9 in I, the Wizard by Daniel McKnight, who is the director. He wants to be referred to as the director. He is the director of my short form improv troupe, Scruffy City Improv Comedy Co. Scruffy City Improv Comedy Co. LLC, doing business as Scruffy City Improv Comedy. It's a long running inside joke. Not from Chattanooga. That's an inside joke. You'll have to come to one of our shows so you can find out about the Chattanooga thing and the troupe name. We're actually performing tomorrow night at the Thursday night at the Birdhouse at the Manatee Vanity Improv drop-in and jam that happens every Thursday night at the Birdhouse from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I invite you out. It will be fun. It's free. And yeah, there's not a lot of space, but there's a whole lot of fun to be had when the whole room's full of a bunch of dorks. Because dorks are the best kind of people. Anyway, so before I get into chapters 8 and 9 of I, the Wizard by Daniel McKnight, I need to ask you a series of very serious queries. Have you gone pee in the potty yet? Did you brush your teeth? Dental hygiene is very important. Have you got your water next to the bed? I have my water right here. Partially, it is coconut water because one of my patients, their caregiver, their person that takes care of them, he has a whole cooler full of beverages, and I was like, let's be healthy and get coconut water instead of that monster juice that was calling my name. It would have made me like insufferable and suffer tonight because I didn't make it there until like 2:00 this afternoon. And mama don't need that much caffeine that late at night, that late in the afternoon. It's always a bad scene unless I have a performance, in which case caffeine me up. Anyway, so cheers. I put ice in there and a little bit of salt too. It's mostly water at this point. It's just like coconut water flavored. And have you done your stretches? I did a little bit of stretches. I didn't do enough stretches. I could definitely use more stretches, and I will do that after I read these 2 chapters to you. I'm very impressed that you already got all that taken care of in the span of time that I've been yammering at you. So good on you. Good job. Are you ready for me to start this story? You're like, I've been ready. I've been ready a long time ago. I done clicked away. Well, why don't you, instead of clicking away, you could subscribe to the channel so that you can listen to me yammer about things in my life again, elsewise, other times in the future. Or you could, subscribe, and then it'll pop up like stuff that I've recorded before, and you can listen to me from the past. It's kind of like time travel, you see? Only you can only go backwards. You can never go forwards. I don't know, that's a metaphor for something, I'm sure. Anyway, oh my goodness, excuse me. I had kombucha with my dinner tonight, and it made me belch. I do apologize. Also, additionally, on my IMDb, belching on command is my special talent. I am able to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, chapter 8 of I the Wizard. We shall begin. Yes, yes. Okay. I found the site after about an hour. It was definitely the kind of place that Ray would like. A small patch of land that jutted out into the water, with a large stream curving around it, creating a natural pool. The ground was covered in soft green grass, with a pit for a campfire in the clearing center. There's a typo there, Dan. Wait, hang on. I can mark those because I'm on a Kindle. No. Okay, yes. Highlight. Report content error. Nope, not typo. No, it's duplicate text. There we go. Submit. Hooray! I'm helping. Okay, sorry about that. All right. In the clearing center, there was a pit for a campfire. There was an assortment of rocks on the upstream side, which deflected the water, and some small reeds growing downstream. There were trees inland that surrounded the area, but with enough clear space, there was no way for someone to sneak up on Ray. The whole area seemed to be picked clean, with the exception of the fishing pole stuck in the reeds. It looked like Ray caught a fish after all, and I pulled the rod from the water. I held it up and saw what was left of a catfish on the end of the line. Turtles took good care eating of most of it, leaving only the skull attached by the hook. Like the sheriff said, most of the evidence had been cleared out, and the locale degraded over time. There wasn't much for me to see. I pulled out my wand, set an illumination spell, and a blue light erupted at its tip. Slowly, I walked around the area, waving my wand over the ground until a patch started to glow white. It was what was left of Ray's blood. There was a splotch with 2 empty spaces in the middle where his boots were, and a lot of little drops beside it. A little ways behind the empty spaces were 2 larger pools of glowing white. That was probably where he fell, and his blood poured out and gathered on either side of his body. I sat down under one of the trees and tried to figure out how Ray could let himself get murdered. With as little as I had to go on, it looked like he just stood there and let somebody come up and stab him. The sun was starting to go down as I made my way back to the village. I reined up Ray's horse outside of Hannon's, hitched the horse, and went inside. I grabbed a stool at the bar and flagged down the innkeeper. "Hey, Bo, nice to see you. A pint?" "Yeah, sure. Is that Skeet?" I asked, pointing to a loud man at the game table. "Yep, that's him." "Good. Did you tell him about me?" "Nah, he just got here. Only had time to order his drink and sit down." I drank my ale, watching the games being played from my spot at the bar. After about a half hour, I had figured out most of Skeet's tells. I ordered another pint and made my way to play some cards. I sat down opposite him, in between 2 other players. "Oh, good," Skeet said. "Fresh meat. You got the coin? Here you must pay to play. I reached into my money purse that was attached to my belt and pulled out a handful of copper and silver coins. Skeet's eyes grew wide, and I think he salivated a bit. Will this do? I asked. Oh, yeah, that will do nicely. Skeet dealt out the first hand. I bet first, and Skeet raised. I called. The next cards were dealt around, and I let Skeet bet first. Again, I called. The hand went that way until the last card. Skeet bet heavy, and I folded. I played that way for a while, letting Skeet get used to buying hands. He had a bad habit of pouring more and more money into the center of the table, expecting people to get nervous and quit. I won a few of the smaller amounts just to keep Skeet from getting wise. About an hour into the game, I could tell Skeet drew a real bad hand. I played slow and let him bet as much money as he wanted to, only calling, never raising. When the last card was dealt, a huge grin grew on his face. He must have paired up. He tossed in half of his stack, and I followed. 2 battlements, he boasted, as he tossed his cards on the table. I slouched back in my chair and watched as he started to gather up the money on the table. Not so fast, I whispered. Throwing my hand toward him, I added, a full moat. He stopped with his hands surrounding the money and looked down at my cards. The grin slowly disappeared from his face. Good hand, he grunted, pushing the coins to me. Later that night, Skeet and I were playing alone as the others left the table. Skeet kept betting heavy, figuring I would fold, and for the most part, I didn't. I could tell he was getting more agitated as the evening wore on. Losing that big winnings earlier had him trying to win back what he had lost. He wasn't used to his strategy not working, and it didn't take long for him to get down to the last of his stack of coins. The good thing about players like him is that they don't know when to quit. They always seem to think they can win back their money. He was sweating profusely and drinking heavily. On the last hand, I put him all in. 3 nights, he said with a nervous grin, tossing his cards on the table. Bishops full of serfs, I gloated, turning my cards over. You cheated, he yelled, quickly standing. You're a damn cheat. I leaned back in my chair, put my boot on the edge of the table and pushed it. It slid into his gut, driving him against the wall and pinning him there. The chips slid, and the drinking cups tipped and spilled their contents. Bending over in pain, his face hit the table. I stood, put both my hands on wood top, and jammed it further into his gut. In between labored breaths, he spat, Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Like you killed Rhaenyra, I suppose. Rhaenyra? Cheater got what he deserved. Who are you? Name's Boaz. Rhaenyra was a friend of mine. A wizard, I'll wager. I should have known. You're all the same. You use magic to beat honest gamblers like me. Ray didn't need magic. He was good. Good enough to beat a worm like you. You killed him because you lost. I didn't kill nobody. Prove it to me. Where were you when Ray was killed? You ain't the law. I don't have to tell you anything. You can go to blazes. You're right. I am not the law. I pushed hard on the table, getting an oof out of him. So I can hurt you in ways they can't, in ways you can't even dream of. Where were you that night? God damn it, I was here. All night? No, I was here when he got a skin of wine and I heard him say he was going fishing. After he left, I followed him out to his camp and tried to get my money back. Then you killed him? No, I couldn't even get close to him. He had some kind of spell keeping me away. The coward just stood there and laughed at me. Then what? I came back here. I looked over at Yurt. The barkeep nodded. He was here. Got pretty drunk, too, Yurt said. Had to drink on credit. He didn't have any money. Was he wearing the same clothes that he had on before? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe. Any blood on them? No, I would have noticed that. They was clean, he added. Then what did you do? I asked, turning my attention back to Skeet. I went home. You there alone? My wife was there. Let me up. I turned to one of the men who was playing cards with us earlier. You know where he lives? Yes, I think, he stammered. Go fetch his wife. First he looked confused. Then he quickly walked out of the inn. I stayed where I was, pressing on my side of the table. I thought I knew curse words, but in that respect, Skeet had me beat all to hell. Thankfully, it didn't take long before his wife, Grecia, came barging in. She must have picked up her vocabulary from him because she had more than a few choice words for me, too. Once she calmed down a bit and confirmed he was home, I was finally able to ask her some more questions. You sure he didn't go back out there after you went to sleep? Yes, I'm sure, she spat. He was too drunk to go anywhere. He could have gotten up sometime in the night. No, he was dead to the world. When he gets that way, I can bang a pot over his head and he wouldn't even flinch. Good for nothing the next day, too. I took my hands off the table and let him push it away. He tried to stand upright, but couldn't. Doubled over, his wife helped him to the door, spewing curse words the whole time. You wizards ain't going to cheat him out of my money again, she yelled as they left. I gathered up the money on the table and made my way to the bar. You sure know how to put on a show, Bo, Yurt said. Yeah, sorry about all that. I tossed a handful of coins on the bar. Here's for the trouble, I said, and walked out the door. And wowzers, that was a 16-minute video already. Well, let's go ahead and read chapter 9 anyway, okay? Okay. I won't tell nobody if you don't. I mean, I'm just telling everybody that watches the video. But that don't count, right? It's a secret between you, me, and the fence post. All right. Chapter 9. I rode back to Ray's and walked the horse to the barn. After making sure both horses had fresh food and water, I made my way to the house. I opened the door to the front of the cottage and saw Vivian sitting on a settee, knitting. I'm so glad you're home, Bo, she said, putting her yarn aside and standing. I was worried sick about you. You didn't need to wait. I'm a big boy. Oh, Bo, I know. I guess I just worry a lot. Can I get you something? Something to eat or to drink? Nah, thanks anyway. I'm beat. I'm just going to hit the cot. I've got to figure some things out. But no, really, I've got to get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning. I smiled, grabbed a lit candle, and walked into my room. In the flickering light, I undressed and threw the borrowed clothes in the corner. I used my fingers to extinguish the candle wick and crawled into bed. It was sometime later on in the night when I was awakened by my room door opening. I grabbed the dagger I keep close to the bed and turned to face the intruder. With the light of the moon coming in through the window, I could see it was Vivian. She entered slowly, leaving the door slightly ajar. She was wearing a long, flimsy nightgown that let the dim light show through. The outline of her voluptuous body stood out in the darkness. Bo, she said in a low voice, I'm sorry to wake you. Something wrong? I managed to say. She put her hands to her shoulders and gently slipped her negligee off, letting it fall to the floor. She stepped out of her fallen dressing gown and slipped into the bed. Not now that you're here, she said. I tried to object, but her mouth covered mine before any words came out. Over the years, I have become a very light sleeper, and I was startled to find myself alone when I woke up. I mean, at least he didn't describe any further than that, right? Ugh. I was startled to find myself alone when I woke up. How Vivian got out of bed without waking me, let alone leaving and closing the door, was a mystery. She was a little too good at not disturbing me. I got up and covered myself in my robes and made my way out the door and into the kitchen. Vivian was busy preparing breakfast, and without turning around and her head slightly down, she muttered, Your biscuits will be ready soon. I'll have your tea steeping. Something wrong? Last night. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. I walked up behind her and put my hands on her shoulders. She turned around and melted into my arms, putting her cheek against my chest. I just don't know what to do. I'm so glad you're here. Her body shuddered as she sobbed. After a few minutes, she pulled away and lightly slapped my chest. Go, sit. I'll get your food. We ate, mostly in silence, until I asked, Did Ray have any enemies? No, everyone liked him. After thinking a minute, she added, But there was that farmer. Farmer? What farmer? Bayard. He owns the little farm south of the village. What's his story? I pressed. Well, his wife died a couple of months back. He was real broken up by it. What did she die of? She got the fever. I think Bayard waited a little too long before getting a healer. What's that got to do with Ray? Well, Bayard was out of his mind. He came here one day, wanted Ray to bring her back. What? Bring her back from the dead? Yes, she said, nodding her head. Ray refused, didn't he? Of course. When Ray said no, Bayard went crazy. He said he was going to kill him. Ray tried to explain that it was an element of the dark arts and was forbidden. He couldn't do it, but Bayard wouldn't listen. He said that he would get even, then he just stomped out. I think maybe I should go have a talk with this Bayard. Where exactly is his farm? I thought better of changing into everyday clothes again and stuck with my wizard's robe. If I was going to get anything out of this farmer, I wanted him to know that I was a wizard too. After I washed up, I walked out of the house. I was surprised to see my horse was at the front door, all saddled up and ready to go. Vivian came from around the side and said, I thought I could help a little. I hope you don't mind. Of course not. I didn't have the heart to tell her I had planned on letting my horse rest for a couple of days. Good, she said with a little smile. I also packed you up some bread and cheese. They're in your bags. It's not a real long trip, but you never know. I mounted the horse and took the reins. Thanks. You're an angel. I pulled the reins to one side, gave a slight kick, and started down the road. Vivian had given me directions at breakfast, so I knew where I had to go. Around midday, I stopped by a stream to eat. If I couldn't let my horse have the day off, the least I could do would be to travel slowly. I was thankful that Vivian had packed some food, but I was even more grateful when I found that she had put a full skin of wine in with it. After a while, I got back on the road and traveled a few more miles. I could tell that I was close, as the farmland that was once neatly planted suddenly became unkempt. Weeds were growing in the tilled soil, and it looked like there were no crops planted at all. Shortly, a farmhouse came into view. It looked rough and empty, although there was a little smoke coming from the chimney. I rode up to the front door and tied my horse to a post. After unstrapping my staff, I walked to the front door. It took a while after I knocked before the door finally opened. A bleary-eyed, haggard, and unshaven man answered the door. What do you want? He asked in a raspy voice. Are you Bayard? So what if I am? You from the counting house? Not me. I'm a friend of Rhaenyra's. Looking at my robes, he slurred. You're a wizard, ain't you? Well, you and Rhaenyra's can both go to hell. He turned and walked back into the dark house, leaving the door open. I followed him in, careful not to trip on any of the objects that littered the floor. The house itself smelled of old ale, spoiled wine, and vomit. Bayard turned to face me. Get out of my house! Not till I get some answers. Answers to what? He asked, while picking up bottles and shaking each one, hoping to find one that still had something in it. You threatened to kill Ray. You carry out that threat? Who? Ray, Rhaenyra, the wizard. He's dead? Murdered. Good. I asked him to help me, but the bastard wouldn't bring back my Megs. So you killed him? Not me, but I'd like to buy the man who did a drink. You didn't pay him a little visit when he went fishing? Fishing? No, I've been in here ever since I went to where he lived and talked to him. Why would I want to go fishing with him anyway? He spat. He finally found a mug with some ale still in it and drained it. Can anybody verify that? Verify what? That you were here. What do you think? He slurred, holding his arms wide. Looking around, I muttered, Yeah, I suppose not. You're taking the death of your wife kind of hard, aren't you? She was all I had, he said, choking up. I failed her. Shaking his head, trying to clear his mind, he added, Now get out! Leave me alone! Yeah, sure, I'll go. I don't think you could have killed Ray. Even sober, you couldn't sneak up on him. I started to the door when he yelled, Hey! But you're a wizard too, right? I turned to face him. Yes. Could you bring my Megs back to me? I'll do anything. I'll pay anything. Bringing back the dead is one of the dark arts. I don't do that, and neither did Ray. Even if I did, the thing that would come back to you wouldn't be your wife. It might look like her, but it wouldn't be. He fell to the floor sobbing. Get out! Damn you to hell! I walked out, but left the door open. I kind of figured that maybe some fresh air might do him some good. After strapping down my staff, I climbed back on my horse and started back to the cottage. It was dark by the time I got back. I was hoping Vivian would be asleep, but no such luck. I could tell she was still up and waiting because the light that shone out through the windows was a bit overpowering. She must have had every candle in the place lit. Took my horse to the barn and tended to her needs first. Picked up my bags and staff and walked slowly to the house. I wasn't looking forward to dealing with Viv. I liked her well enough, but I was sore, cranky, and exhausted. I made my way up the steps and opened the door. Oh, excuse me. Beau, said Vivian, jumping to her feet and tossing her knitting aside. I was so worried. You must be starved. Let me fix you something. No, but thanks. I'm dog-tired. I just need to hit the cot. But Beau, she said, moving toward me. I held my hand up. She stopped in her tracks. I really do need to sleep. She looked as if I'd slapped her. But I will see you in the morning, won't I? Wait. Okay, sorry. Wrong voice. But I will see you in the morning, won't I? I asked. Sure, Beau, sure. I'll be here. Good. Now let me see you smile. She raised her head and looked at me with the start of a grin. Good night, Viv. Good night, Beau. I went into my room, and this time when I closed the door, I locked it. The next morning, as always, came too early. It had been years since I'd spent so much time in a saddle, and I felt it. I didn't like it then, and I didn't like it now. Breakfast went the same that morning as it did the day before, with Vivian dishing out food and conversation, both of which were easy to swallow. I finished my last cup of tea and got up to leave. Where are you off to today? Well, first, I'm going to go to the church. I want to talk to that priest again. After that, I'm not sure. Will you be careful? I'll wait up for you. I was going to object, but thought better of it. I opened the door and stepped out. My foot caught on something, or someone, and I went tumbling to the ground. I shoulder rolled, grabbed the dagger out of my boot, and prepared for an attack. On the large, flat stepping stone at the cottage's entrance, there was the figure of a man trying to get to his feet. Petch! I yelled. What are you doing here? Master Beau, sir, Shut up, Petch. Just tell me what you're doing here. Master Vivek sent me. He wanted me to give you this, he stammered, as he held out a scroll. I replaced my dagger, snatched the paper from him, quickly broke the seal, and unrolled it. My dear Beau, since you are in Anon, I am sending this request. I know you will do your best to see it done. Rhaenyra's had some family living in the north, and I thought they may wish to have his possessions. If you would kindly see to it that everything that was his is boxed up, I am sending a wagon to retrieve it in a few days. Also, I was wondering if you could do me a personal favor. I specifically sent Petch on this errand. He is an adequate magician, but lacks certain skills about life outside the academy. As you are by far the most experienced in that regard, I ask that you take him under your wing, so to speak. Show him how to manage in the real world. He's not so bad, once you get to know him. He may even be a help to you at times. 5X, Headmaster, Augury's Wizard Academy. Sorry. Great, I muttered under my breath, wadding up the scroll and tossing it aside. Do you know what it says? I asked Petch. Not exactly, but Master Vivex told me to pack for a long trip. Am I to go somewhere? I pinched the bridge of my nose between my thumb and forefinger, closed my eyes, and tried to wish away the oncoming headache. No, you're not. Am I to stay here then? Yes, Petch, you are. But first tell me why you were sleeping by the door. Well, sir, I arrived late last night. I assumed you were asleep, and I didn't wish to disturb you. I was shaking my head in disbelief as Vivian appeared at the door. Beau, are you all right? Who is this? Vivian, meet Petch. And that's the end of chapter 9. What did we think? That's a long video now, 30 minutes almost. Gracious golly. Well, good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. And if they do bite them back, you are worthy of self-defense. I love you. Good night.